Hi, everybody. So we are here to discuss the finale of Gilmore Girls revival. This one is called Fall, and we have talked about all the other. There's 4 episodes in this series, in this revival, and we've talked about the other 3. And now we're doing the finale, and my friend Abby's here with me to talk about it.
Hi.
Yeah, and so this one's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be a little more casual than my typical podcast. We're a little tight on time with the holidays. We wanted to get this in. So it's just going to be a nice little discussion. And I have the chat room open. And so if you want to make some comments, I know this was a somewhat controversial finale for them. And so we're going to talk about it and talk about the different parts of it and what we thought of it. And the series as a whole, the revival as a whole, we'll talk about. So, what did you think as a whole of this episode? Your overall response, Abby?
I really loved this episode. I felt like it was really full of Gilmore magic. It had all the elements that I want in a Gilmore Girls episode. So it was fun. It felt to me the most like original series, like what I want in a Gilmore Girls.
Yeah. Me too. I really liked it. I thought we'll talk about the ending, but for me, it kind of came full circle and felt like it. I mean, I don't mind. It's funny because it had a really ambiguous ending in a way, but then it also had a kind of a coming full circle kind of ending as well. And I just really liked that finally I felt like I liked these characters and I remembered why I liked them. And even Lorelei, which she had just been struggling with this series, I just thought she was great, and Lauren Graham was great. And I liked everyone's story arc, pretty much how it ended for all of them. Pretty much. Even like smaller characters, like I liked Christopher's scene, I liked Dean's scene, loved Luke's scene in here. Just all these characters. I loved seeing Suki again. So it was just great on so many levels. But our main girls, I really thought it was just such a nice way. If this is the end, then that was just a great way to leave them, I think.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I agree that I felt like everything. I don't think I could have wrapped things up better myself.
Yeah.
I like that some of the storylines are more tied up in a neat little bow, and some of the storylines are more open and really beautifully done.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so it starts out with Lorelei, and she is going wild, I guess, like this book / movie, and she's in the Pacific Northwest. And the one thing that confused me about this is why did it take her all these days and all like
to get going?
I was confused about that. Like, she's at this hotel with these ladies, and that was fun, and I enjoyed it. But I'm like, what are they waiting for? Was it like permits or something? I was confused.
I was confused about that too, because they go out and they all have their backpacks on, and they talk to the park ranger guy.
Yeah.
That was Lauren Graham's boyfriend or fiance in Parenthood, and he was.
And I thought, okay,
and it seemed like we're starting the hike.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then they're back.
And then they go back to the motel, and I was like, what?
I was confused.
That was weird.
And then she doesn't have her permit the next day. And it's like you already were going. It was very weird. Mm-hmm. And like she doesn't have to give up the whole entire trip. She could just go back and find her permit. And I don't know. It was funny, but anyway. So,
but that was kind of a Lorelei way to do it. Like, not really do the whole hike, just
like kind of start. Yeah.
And it ended up when they first introduced this idea, and Lorelei's like, "I'm gonna do wild." I was like, I don't know, this is gonna play out.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't have a lot of faith in it, but like a comedy scene, and that totally worked.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny, her trying to get stuff into those packs and things, and
the constant backpack struggle. Until she finally gets duct tape and just tapes it all on there.
Yeah, that was. I am the worst camper hiker person, so I can really relate to that. I don't know. I honestly don't really get the appeal. To me, it's like all the like our people in our church often go on these treks where they are like pretending to be pioneers. I don't understand it. Like they went through all of that, so we wouldn't have to do that.
I know.
If they saw us out camping and stuff, they would think we're insane. Like I don't know. Ever since
you have air conditioning in your house. Yeah. Why are you outside?
Like, are you nuts? It's like somebody to me. It's like choosing to not use indoor plumbing. Like, I guess if you're Amish, I understand it, but like for the most part, it's like, why? Of course, like I don't know. It just feels like, boy, that's a lot of effort for not a lot of fun.
Yeah. I agree.
It's like
I do have to say though, I did go backpacking one time when I was when I was a teenager. Our church does girls camp, and we had a 4th year hike. In our 4th year of camp, we were or something like that, and we had like a 5th year adventure, or 5th, was it 5th year? I don't know. It was one of those years. 4th year. No, it was 4th year. And I was 15, and we went backpacking, and we slept overnight up at this lake, and it was actually a really incredible experience. Like, I'm glad I did it. It's not something I need to like repeat a lot of times.
If I can be by a lake, then I have fun. If I can swim, then I have fun.
It was an incredible lake too, and it wasn't a hugely long. It wasn't like a 50-mile hike. It was like 3 or 4 miles to the lake and 3 or 4 miles back. We still had to hump all our stuff on our backs, but it was an incredible lake. It was crystal clear. It felt really secluded. Like, it was just really neat. So I kind of get the appeal. I don't get the need to like ever repeat that experience.
Like, just drive up to the top of the overlook and like be inspired. That's the other thing that's weird about me, is that like I get minimal inspiration from views. Like, I'm just not that like.
Oh, really?
I can like look at a view and be like, oh, that's pretty, and other people are like, oh, it's so beautiful, I love this view. And I'm like, okay, I don't know, we're just higher. I don't understand why it's so. I know. I'm a.
I don't know why that's so funny.
No.
Yeah, I think I felt that way when I was younger. Like, you just didn't do it for me. Now I feel like it does more.
I don't know. I do love stars, and I love the ocean. Like, that's the view that inspires me. But I don't know. Anyway, it's just so funny because like I went on this camping trip because my dad is like Mr. Boy Scout. He's like been head of young men's or Boy Scouts like our whole life, and my whole life, and he loves it so much. And anyway, and he would always build it up way too much. That was part of the problem. But but anyway, and he I don't know, he would always make it seem like so much fun, and then I would go and do it, and I'd be like,
this is the worst.
But I don't know. It's a funny thing. I feel like I would never. Yeah, I'm definitely not this type to be this wild kind of person. I'd be more likely to do the Eat, Pray, Love thing. That would be more my style. Like, go to Italy, go to Bali. Like,
what's funny is Lorelei is totally not the kind of person who would enjoy that at all either. Like, she's totally an Eat, Pray, Love girl, not a wild girl.
And I don't know, I just have bad luck when it comes to camping. I do. Like, I swear everybody will be just having this great time, and then I'll go and everything will go wrong. Like, oh, I was going to tell. So like I went on this camping trip with my dad to the southern Utah. Beautiful. It is really pretty. I like it.
It is. Yeah.
But like don't know, like everywhere we go, he'd be like, "Look at that beautiful rocks. They're so pretty." And I'd be like, after about 4 or 5 hours, I was like, "Yeah, it's rocks." Like
they're sort of reddish. Woo.
I'm like, calm down. It's rocks.
That's hilarious.
But anyway.
Yeah, we went to Zion's when I was early in our marriage, and it was pretty, but it was, just a lot of rocks.
Like,
and a lot of heat.
But I can't talk because
for our tent, and it was just like, we ended up at the Motel 6. I think that was the last time I went camping.
Yeah. My girls' camp days were very perilous. There was one time, and we're totally on tangent, but who cares? There was one time where they decided we were going to fast to like have it not rain or something. It was crazy.
No,
so we were starving, right? And everything was wet and it was awful. And we had to go like across, and they eventually came and like rescued us. And so my friends had like one of those like 12 passenger vans or whatever. And so we're all piled into one of these huge vans. And I remember like we get up to the McDonald's and you see like the golden arches, and it was like, oh, we were so hungry.
And then you probably all had huge stomach aches after that.
Yeah, probably.
Chowing down on McDonald's after fasting. That's funny.
But anyway, so back to Gilmore Girls. So she goes to have this adventure, and it doesn't really go very well, but she has this moment of clarity where she realizes, she finally remembers a moment about her father, and that was just beautiful. That was so touching. She called her mom. She called Emily, and she tells her about this time that she was rejected by this boy. I think she was 13, and she plays hooky from school. She goes to the mall. Her father finds her at the mall, and she just starts like bawling and crying. And he like takes her, gets some food, and then takes her to a movie, and they have this best moment of her life. And that was great.
That was awesome, and it was so like Lorelei did not have a great relationship with her father for the most part, but both Lorelei's response to this boy publicly dumping her on her birthday and Richard's reaction to her when he sees her, they're both just like so perfectly those characters. You know?
And I loved the way that they found the way to merge the old clips, how they did that. That was so effective with the...
it was really well done.
Oh, yeah. Like she walks into the... it was Rory, but later on walks into the dining room and you see them there. Like that looked so seamless. I was really impressed.
Too. That was... Usually those kinds of things come off really cheeseball, and it really didn't. It was really smooth.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, and him just sitting there at his desk, and I always liked Richard as a character. I guess partly because I love Edward Herrmann as an actor. I've always really liked since back in the Disney, when he did a bunch of Disney movies. He's
in a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
he's in a ton of stuff.
If you want to see a fun comedy. Just a silly, slapsticky, but very enjoyable comedy. It's called the North Avenue Irregulars. He's in that. Yeah, it's about these church women who all go undercover to break down the gambling syndicate in their town. It's very funny. It's completely silly, but it's very funny. Yeah. He's in that. He plays the Reverend in that movie, and he did a bunch of earlier Disney stuff. So I guess that's why I kind of have a soft spot for him. And so this was just really sweet. And I thought Lauren Graham was excellent in that whole monologue, the way that she did that. I thought it just was great.
And it was just beautifully written and beautifully acted. And even Emily's response to it was really sweet. And she didn't have much to say, but visually it was really well done.
She didn't need to say much. Like, She just needed to just listen and take it in, I think.
Mm-hmm. But even like in a situation like that where you're just the listener on the phone, like that's got to be kind of a challenge to act because you're not doing anything. And yet Kelly Bishop still managed to have this really sweet, expressive response.
Yeah. She's just great. She's still so much. I love her so much. She's the best actress she is, I think, the best actor in the series, and
absolutely.
For sure. So.
And her character is amazing. Like.
Yeah.
She might be my favorite.
Yeah, she's great. And we saw some growth with her. I really thought it was sweet. So she, and we're kind of jumping around a little bit, but so she decides she's dating this guy, and he has a house in Nantucket or something like that. And
he has a house in Nantucket.
Yeah, so
or maybe they're staying at a house. They might have been
bed
renting.
And breakfast or something.
Because I think it's the same house that Emily ends up buying, isn't it?
I couldn't tell if it might be. I wasn't sure. But
because I think they might have been staying at the rental house that she and Richard used to rent, and then she bought that house. I don't know. Yeah. But they were in Nantucket.
Yeah. I think that's right. I think she does say it was the house she used to rent. And so she buys the house, and she's puts her house on the market, gets rid of a lot of her stuff, and I almost wish we could get a spinoff.
I'd watch it.
I would. That would be really good. That would be really good.
Her whole arc is just really fantastic, and her journey is kind of this journey to independence, and it's almost like now that she's kind of through the brunt of, or the thick of the grieving process, I guess. She's kind of shedding this like to look a certain way and to present herself as, and to follow all the rules that her world follows.
Well, you saw that with the club. You saw that with the country club, where she's just like, that was just great. I won't use her language, but
or at the
she's just like, this is BS. I'm not gonna keep doing this. This is complete and utter nonsense. And that was great. It was just.
That might be one of my all-time favorite Gilmore scenes, is Emily at the DAR, just totally ripping into these obnoxious, snooty women.
And it really makes sense because, like, I don't care who it is, but when you're around certain people, you behave differently. And I can only imagine that's a million times more so with somebody you're married to or dating or something like that. You know, I would think if I dated different types of people, I would be a little bit different with each of those type of people. And so now she's not with Richard, so she's going to be different than when she's with him. That's just human nature.
Well, right. She has to kind of renew her identity, because when you're married, especially I'd imagine after that many years, and even now, I've been married for 12 years, but my husband and our marriage is such an integral part of my identity. Like, it's my life. And if that were to change, you kind of have to reinvent yourself. You kind of have to find your independence again, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, especially when it's so, I don't know, kind of like if something were to happen to my dad and my mom was gonna, I mean, that would be, it's gonna be so hard for my mom. When, like, it's one thing, I think, don't want to make my mom sound too old fashioned, but like, I think it's one thing if you're the type that has like your own career and your own life and your own, kind of a thing. But like the more traditional roles, I think it would be even harder, if that makes sense.
No, you're right. I mean, think about Emily. Like, has she ever had a job? Probably not.
No.
Like, she's never been independent on any level. But it's kind of cool because she almost finds this sense of like, in in realizing her independence. And that's really kind of cool. Like it would be horrible to lose a spouse, especially one that you'd been married to for that long. But she kind of is able to find the good in it.
Yeah. Well, and also I love like little moments. Like this sounds like a really small thing, but when she's talking with Rory about the food that Berta makes, and she's just like, hey, I don't know what it is, but it's delicious. And I feel like moments like that are something new for her. That, you know, she's open to weird food, and she's open to new things, and I don't know.
Yeah, and just, I mean, even the relationship she has with Berta, it's like a wonderful thing. She's finally found a maid that she likes, and she's kind of like adopted this whole family.
Yeah.
And she's there. She has someone to kind of take care of, and that also takes care of her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And so that was really, really nice. I guess, so getting back to Lorelei, so she has this moment of clarity where she realizes what she wants in her life, looking at the mountains and everything, telling this story to her mother. And so she decides that she is going to basically propose to Luke, that they need to get married. And that this scene was great. I thought it was so well acted, so well written. She comes in and he's convinced that she's going to leave him. And he gives this whole speech about why this is a bad idea and she's being stupid.
I loved that speech. It was so funny and so Luke. And I love that he's finally, like, in his oldness, I guess, he's matured a lot and kind of come into this, like, himself. He's more comfortable with their relationship. He's, like, series, he would never have come out and said this.
Yeah, that's
he would
what
have
I
never
felt.
like begged her to stay. But he's kind of reached to this place where he's like, and I'm not going to pretend that I don't.
Yeah. I feel like even by the end of the original series, he wasn't there at that, like, even dealing with Christopher and everything like that. Like, I don't feel like he was as sort of forward as he was here. So you can see that growth.
Yeah, and he's reached a sense of security in all of it. Like, he's confident in himself and he's confident in his relationship and what he wants. Yeah,
it was really, really, really good. And you just sort of felt for the guy, because at least at that point, I wasn't 100% sure whether she was going to break up with him. Like, I thought maybe this moment of clarity, she's like, okay, you know, I got to move on or something like that. Who knows? I have no idea. And I thought they played that really well. And then when she's like, oh, yeah, well, let's get married, I was like, yay.
I know, that was a big cheer moment. Like, hooray, they're finally going to do it.
I was surprised that they were going to go through the getting a dress and getting that didn't seem very Lorelei to me. Did that seem to you?
To some degree, because I mean, when she married Christopher, she just had this little, like, she didn't even really have a wedding.
Paris?
It was an elopement. It was in Paris, and they totally eloped, and nobody was even there. And so she's never really had, like, so it kind of made sense to me that she would want at least somewhat of a wedding. But it also made sense to me, though, that it wasn't like 6 months away where they were doing some elaborate thing.
Yeah, interesting. And so that was great. And they have their scenes. And then I think the next scenes is Rory gets kind of hijacked by, or I'm thinking, is Suki in between there, or is the next part Rory? I think it's Rory.
I can't remember the order.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I think it's Rory.
So Rory ends up getting, she's dumped Logan in the last episode, and he comes and with his friends, and they stage this kind of intervention, I guess you might call it, where they're all dressed in sort of steampunk outfits, and they go to this tango club.
Yeah, it's like one last hurrah for the Life and Death Brigade kids.
I had forgotten about them, so I wasn't sure who they were, to be honest.
Yeah, do you remember the Life and Death Brigade?
No, I forgot.
So in season 4-ish, she happens to meet Logan through her friend Marty. But then she finds out, she does a story on the Life and Death Brigade, and it's sort of an underground, like, club at Yale. And it's basically a bunch of rich kids who stage elaborate events and do stuff together. And so there were several episodes where the Life and Death Brigade had events. And they were always, like, really cool and fun. Like, stuff that of doing.
Yeah. That was one really funny thing about this episode. Like, how many times did characters say, "Do you need money? I can give you money. I got lots of money." Like,
I know, right?
Like, where is my person in life who's like, "I got money. You need money?"
Who's offering me a house in Maine or whatever?
I know, because like Logan does it, his friends do it, Christopher does it.
Yeah.
Like,
this girl that people just like throw money at her.
Yeah, like, you need money. I got money, lots of money. Like,
I was thinking that too. By the end, I was like, how many times has she been offered a house for a huge amount of money? Like,
I know, like, oh boy, it's gonna be tough being a single mom in her world, right?
Oh yeah, right.
And so, yeah, did you like this? Was that fun for you, or I don't know? What did you think?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was very much in the spirit of the other Life and Death Brigade events, and visually it was really cool. And
yeah,
my only critique of it is it maybe went on a little longer than it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I think I would have liked it more if I had remembered who they were, but it was fun. I enjoyed it, and you get to see her with Logan, and I don't know, like, I guess she's just kind of swept away in the moment with Logan.
Yes, I think she has she sort of has this weakness. I think it's the same syndrome that she had when she was cheating on Lindsay with Dean. Where she just she's near him and she can't help herself, I guess.
Yeah,
and I think we can safely assume too that this is when little Gilmore Girl number 4 is conceived.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's fair. And speaking of, so I don't know. It was fun. It was bright. It was cheerful. I enjoyed it, and it was also a little bittersweet because you knew that this was kind of the end of that chapter in her life. And he tries to get her to take the house in Maine and write her book, but she says, no, I got somewhere else to write. And that's when we get her scene of going to her grandparents' house and seeing all of the memories. And that was just so perfectly done. I liked that a lot.
And that was well done.
Yeah, and she actually meets Dean in the grocery store, and that was really nice.
I loved that scene.
Yeah, that was really, really sweet.
And I love that Dean gets his big family, and he gets what he wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that too, and the way that she basically tells him, like, you're the best person I ever dated. Like, you're my dream man. It's like, oh, that was awkward but nice. I don't know.
Pretty sweet. He was a really good boyfriend.
Yeah. She's like, can I put you in my book if I describe you as the nicest person in the world? Yeah. And so they have their, that's nice. And she ends up writing the first 3 chapters of her book called The Gilmore Girls. And she gives it to Lorelei and she says, look, you read it. And if you hate it, that's it. It's done. I tried it. No big deal. But if you like it, then we can, go from there. And that I thought was pretty cool. Yeah,
That's the kind of thing I'd expect from Rory is consideration.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's really nice. And then I'm trying to think, okay, what happens next? Okay, and then I think what next is so Lorelei's planning her wedding, and that's where we're
Yes.
gonna meet Suki again.
Yes. And she walks in and sees all the cakes and she
Yeah,
knows she's there.
yeah. She was so good. I loved Melissa McCarthy. I know a lot of people are overdosed on her, a little overexposed on her. Maybe it's because I haven't watched a lot of her movies because a lot of them are pretty hard R-rated movies, and so
Yeah.
I'm not as overexposed. But
Mhm.
I do really love her when she's on. She's so funny, I think, and just so like I don't know.
I think
I like her.
Suki is my favorite role of hers too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are some roles that she plays that I'm like, you're kind of annoying. But
Yeah,
Suki for some reason is just super endearing.
yeah. Well, she seems like a real person. You know, she's not just sort of the angry fat girl kind of thing that sometimes she plays.
Right. And it doesn't feel like the thing with Melissa McCarthy for me is sometimes it just feels like McCarthy trying to be loud and funny. Like, this isn't a believable character. This is just you trying to be hilarious. And it's not really landing because it doesn't feel authentic.
Mm-hmm.
But Suki doesn't feel that way at all. She feels
Mm-hmm.
like a real person.
Mm-hmm. I really liked her in her TV show Mike and Molly. I liked that show. I thought that it was not like the best show ever, but I enjoyed her on there. And so I think she maybe is even better on TV than in the movies in a way. But she's an Oscar nominated actress, so there you go, and Emmy winner. So she's pretty cool, and I really liked. It was just I don't know. I just really liked her whole monologue that she does. I thought it was really good, and just that chemistry is still there between her and Lauren Graham, and they just seem like these really were friends.
There's something just there's just something really sweet about their friendship.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a real friendship.
I agree. It really does, and it just I don't know, like it was just a very pleasant, nice cameo. It wasn't like a cameo where you're like, okay, they're just doing this to check another one off the box.
Right.
And I loved
Dean
Michelle.
felt a little bit like a box check.
Which one?
But Dean.
Oh yeah, a little bit.
But I still really liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Michelle was really funny with Suki as well. I thought that was pretty hilarious. You
Yeah,
took
that was
your fat-free granola and you left. That made me laugh. That was funny.
That was funny.
Yeah. So anyway, it turns out I guess Kirk is planning the wedding. Is the wedding planner? Is that right?
I don't think
and he's like staying over at their house, but he wants to like.
He wasn't the wedding planner. So what he was told, he was given a task, I think, and the task was for him to do something very minor related to the wedding. So they didn't want to have a huge decorating anything. They just wanted the fall festival to be the decorations, basically. And he was supposed to put up a table or something very minor. And instead he like elaborately decorated. And that's why he comes over, because he's like, oh, I screwed up and Lorelei's going to be mad at me. And he does this whole Kirk thing.
Okay. I was like, okay, that makes sense. I was like, because he has to have like the bathroom that he threw up in, or I don't know. It was a little confusing. Like, what's going on?
He couldn't throw up in the downstairs bathroom because the tile on the floor hurts his knees.
Yeah, that's right. And
like obviously he's thrown up in this house more than once.
Yeah. And so then we find out that that's when we find out that Emily has bought the house and is selling the house, and Lorelei finds out, and she's kind of upset by that at first, and but I love that interaction between the two of them was really good, and she's just like, this is what I have to do. And I was a little bit confused because I thought that I thought that maybe Emily wasn't going to the wedding. It seemed a little bit, I don't know. I was just a little confused about why she wasn't there the night before the wedding. But I guess she may be coming up that day or something. I don't know, I guess.
Yeah, it did seem weird to me that, like, she didn't stay at the inn or something that night before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But a little bit unclear. I think she was... They mentioned that she's planning on going to the wedding. She says something about it at some point.
Yeah, I guess I missed that. But
so I assumed she was going to go, but they didn't really show her there because they didn't really show the main event. So
I guess Nantucket's not that far away from
yeah, I have no concept of how long it would take to travel from Nantucket to somewhere vaguely near.
I think it's just a couple of. I think it's just a couple of hours. I think, but I don't know. What do I know?
You're right in there too, probably.
Yeah, that's probably true. And so I don't think I'm trying to think if we missed anything before the final events. We cover everything. I think
covered.
Yeah.
I think we covered all the main stuff. Yeah.
Okay. And so anyway, so they're talking, Lorelei and Luke, and they're like, "I wish we could just go off and get married now." And that's when Lorelei says, "Wait, the minister's just at bingo night. We could go find him. Let's get married." And and so it's a similar thing, like you said in Twitter. You said it's kind of similar to Jim and Pam, like doing it the night before, so their crazy friends can do whatever they want the next day. And so they get there and they realize what a beautiful wedding. Of course, they wake Rory up. They realize what a beautiful wedding that Kirk has made for them, and that's really nice.
And that's a really incredible sequence. Like, I just love it. It was standing in the back of the truck and driving through Stars Hollow, and all of it was just really lovely.
It really was. I had a big smile on my face. I agree. And it was just, I don't know, that's how you want to end a show. You want to end the show with the characters happy. You want to end the show with room for them to grow, room for them to, and, like, unlike my traumatic experience with a show, where the characters are killed off in a montage, and divorced in a montage. And so, this is how you want it. Like, people think that we want something edgy. People think we want something provocative. No, we don't. No, we don't. We want something. No, we want something that's going to be safe, and our characters are going to be happy, and we feel good about. And yeah, maybe it is a bit of a cop-out artistically or whatever, but no, we want the moment. Like, I'm not the biggest Friends fan, but they did it really well, where you got to see everybody was happy, everybody was turning in their key and moving on to something new, and that's what you want in a series finale. You want that sense of sort of closure, and so many other shows think, oh, we've got to be all sort of daring, and we can't end on a sappy note. No, that's wrong.
We want some sap.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, it gets obnoxious. Like, you can overdo that for sure.
Yeah.
But we want some sap. If you don't have any sap in your ending, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, we just want to know that the characters are going to be happy, because this is the last we're going to see of them. And so, I mean, I love the best, in my opinion, the best finale ever was the Mary Tyler Moore Show, where basically they just like end hugging. It's great. Yeah.
I never have seen the finale of that show.
Yeah, I love that show, but anyway, it's like, that's what you want. You want it just to feel good. These people are going to be happy. And anyway, so then we get our final reveal, and I guess if they were going to do something provocative, this was the provocative part, the part that was somewhat controversial for people, that we find out that Rory is pregnant, and then it cuts to black. That's the last line. She says, "I'm pregnant." And so I thought this was really cool. Like I thought that it was a way to kind of to bring everything full circle from the beginning of the show. And she's 32 years old. Like I don't. She'll be fine. Like she has all these people offering her money. She's just written a book. Like she'll be fine. Like I have no sense of worry about her mothering ability.
And we have Jess, who's obviously in love with her. We have Logan, who admits that he's only marrying the person he's engaged to because to build the dynasty, basically. Yeah. And so that we have all these options for her. And so it's not like she's not 16 and pregnant. She's 32 and pregnant.
So I'm not sure why people struggled with that. You know, that there are people. There's one of my followers. His name's Ryan. He always has a problem if there isn't. He's like, wait, you didn't tell me what happened. And I'm like, that's great. I love it. Thank you. It was so great. And so for me, I like a little bit of ambiguity in an ending. It's certainly a lot better than killing off your characters or something like that. Some horror.
I feel like especially, I feel like especially with a series, like there needs to be a sense of after this series, like they don't all reach their happy ending and that's it, because that doesn't even make any sense. Like, have you ever been at a point where everybody in your inner circle has reached their happy place? Yeah, no, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was just thinking about this this movie. You just made me think of it. In the holiday film podcast I did today, I was talking about While You Were Sleeping. And when he's talking to in that movie, there's this great line when he's talking to his dad, and the dad says, you know, that moment where everybody's happy and everybody is at peace and the family, and the great character's like, yeah, this is not that moment. I was like, that's so good. I'm like, it's true. There's never that moment. Like I've had ones where I do feel like you get those like perfect moments of life. But as a family,
but then you get like that, like the wedding. That's like a perfect when Luke and Lorelei get married. For Lorelei, for Rory, for Luke, for their people closest to them. That's a perfect moment. Yeah. But that doesn't mean all their lives are in this amazing place where they're living their happily ever after now. Right. You know, like no, that doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. So Alicia King's just logged on. She says, do you think Logan is the father? And like, yes, definitely.
I think there's no question. I don't think that it could possibly be anyone else.
Yeah. There's no other sort of
sleeping with that weird boyfriend that finally broke up with her over text.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's no question in my mind about that. And so, yeah, do you think that
that's going to be the most beautiful kid on the planet, by the way?
Yeah. Oh, well, wait, I did think of one thing we forgot. So she meets with Christopher.
Yeah, we kind of glazed over that real quick. But.
Yeah. So she meets with Christopher and she asks him how he felt about him not being more of a part of her life. And
that was really confusing to me when it happened, because I was like, been one to have like the whole daddy issue. So where's this coming from? And I thought maybe it's just from writing about everything. Maybe she's kind of stirring this stuff up.
Don't you think that Logan and Christopher are somewhat similar a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean, I would think, so if I was pregnant I would think that would sort of inspire the question. That's where I felt like it was coming from.
Well, yeah, and then we find out she's pregnant. But when we see that meeting with Christopher, we have no idea where it's going.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I liked his answer, you know, basically that that was the way it was supposed to be. That was the way, you know, and he's like, please don't make me into too much of a villain. Yeah, right. He was young. I've always felt a certain degree of sympathy for Christopher.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was kind of in a tough spot because he didn't really like have a lot of say in anything that happened with Rory.
Yeah.
That's a hard place to be. I mean, it's she's his daughter. Just as much as she's Lorelei's daughter. And so when he was a young kid, kind of feeling powerless, feeling like he's being pushed around by his parents.
Yeah.
And even being pushed around by Lorelei to some degree.
Sure. But I think there is some truth to that like sometimes there's just, I don't know, like sometimes there's just things that are just sort of meant to be. Like I was a super independent kid, and I didn't have, like, my parents were were somewhat distracted by having lots of young ones, and in a way that's the way it was meant to be, because I was so independent. I in a way I kind of needed that, and other kids who needed a lot of attention would have struggled more than me, but because I didn't, I don't know, it just feels like there's certain things in life that, yeah, that might be a challenge for you, but for me, that was the way it was meant to be. And I sort of feel like that same kind of thing with her, that he realized that this is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look back at it with knowing of her pregnancy, and you start to see, like, she's searching. She's trying to figure out where she's going to go from here and what she's going to do. Yeah.
Do you think that she will involve Logan with this baby? Like, do you think she'll basically repeat the pattern of her mother, or I don't know.
I think it could go I think it could go one or three ways. Way number one, she tells Logan about the baby, and he drops his relationship with Odette and marries Rory, or at least is with her. Two, I think she could end up with Jess, because he's obviously still in love with her. They're still really good friends. I could see he could be her Luke. He'll intentionally do what Lorelei did and say, I don't want a partner to raise this child with. I'm going to do it on my own.
Yeah. I guess I didn't get that strong of vibes from Jesse. Like, as you did.
There weren't super strong vibes, but they're friends. Like,
I got friends.
He popped up multiple times, and as he's leaving their house, leaving Lorelei's and Luke's, Luke says, "That's over, right? You're done with that." And he says, "Oh yeah, of course." And then as he's leaving, he's watching Rory through the window. So there is a clear signal that, like, he's still in love with her. But
I guess I missed that. That's cool. Yeah. I think. Do you think they would be a good match?
I think they would be a better match than Rory and Logan. Yeah. Actually, at this point, I hated Jess when he was like 16 or 17 or whatever, and he was a total jerk. But they have a relationship that would make a much healthier marriage than the relationship she has with Logan.
Alicia agrees. She says, I think Jess still loves her too. So there you go. I would not recommend her keeping a relationship with Logan because he's not honest. Like, he's not been honest with her from the beginning.
No, and he hasn't been honest with himself even. Like, did you ever watch Frasier? Have you ever seen that series all the way through?
I have. I love Frasier, actually.
It's kind of like when Niles ends up with Daphne. Yeah. But at first, Daphne is super insecure in their relationship. Yeah. Because she's totally aware that he was married when he fell in love with her.
Plus the fact that the Niles, like, worshipped her. Like that. So how do you have, like,
that was a little weird.
How do you have, like, a relationship with somebody that you're, like, been worshipped?
But then also she has true. Like all kinds of trust issues because she's like, well, you fell in love with me while you were still married to Maris. Like, how do I know that isn't going to happen again? And so you can't marry someone you've been having an affair with.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I agree. Um, yeah, Alicia says, I think Jess, oh, I already said that. So she says, do you think Jess would have a hard time raising Logan's kid?
No. I don't think Jess has a beef with Logan, and I don't know that he would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, Luke semi helped raise Rory, and he didn't have a problem with that. He kind of had a problem. He kind of had a beef with Christopher, obviously.
Yeah,
and I could see Jess developing a beef with Logan, depending on how the two of them acted in the future.
mm-hmm.
But
I think a lot of Luke's problems was with Christopher's interest in Lorelei more than his.
It didn't have anything to do with Rory.
Yeah, with Rory more, and so yeah. So I think so. That was basically the end. So how did you feel about this little revival? These 4 episodes. How, in the end, are you walking away feeling satisfied? Loving it? Medium loving it? Where are you kind of at on it?
I don't know if I can right now. Having just seen that last episode, I really love it. Like, crappy spring was totally worth the payoff in fall.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I don't know how I'll feel about it later. I'll rewatch it a few times, I'm sure. And it'll be added on to my summer rewatching of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, I feel like this was Amy Sherman Palladino's opportunity to end things the way she wanted them to end.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was so much more satisfying than the ending of the original series.
I agree. I think so. I agree. I felt like it was much more satisfying, and I felt, even though, the spring episode, I was like, oh no. I do feel like it all worked together to make a really satisfying show that didn't just lean on nostalgia, but actually had
Mm-hmm.
good writing and good characters and good acting, and it was something I enjoyed very much watching.
I agree. And if they did make more, part of me almost hopes that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel like this is a really solid ending.
Yeah.
I think it's how Amy Sherman Palladino wanted it, and I think it's how it's an ending that I can live with and that I'm happy with. And I'm afraid that if they kept carrying it out, it would get old.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could see them maybe doing some kind of spinoff of a character.
I'd love a spinoff.
What's that?
I would love a spinoff.
Yeah, I would love a spinoff too.
You could really choose almost any character to spin off, and I would watch it.
I know, it's really true. Even like some of the really side characters, you could have a pretty good show.
You could have a Christopher, an Emily, a Jess.
Yeah.
You could have.
I'd watch a Paris show.
I'd watch a Paris show too.
I kind of wish she had been in this episode.
Show. You could have a Michelle show. Okay, maybe not him. But.
Oh, that was so funny with Suki with when she's like, Ina Garten's been in this kitchen. I can smell her.
That was hilarious. She could smell all the different people who had been there.
Yeah. She's like, Rachel Ray, I smell sandwiches.
I smell Sammy's.
Yeah. That was really funny. Yeah, I excuse me. I think that one of the great signs of a great property, whether it's a TV show, movie series, whatever, is when it's very rich. Like, it's easy to make a series that has a strong lead character. Yeah. But something great about, say, Star Wars or Harry Potter or something like that is that you could take somebody, like, say, in Harry Potter, like someone like Luna, who is a side character, isn't in it that much, or in Star Wars, there's been talk of for forever of doing a Boba Fett movie, and how many scenes is he in? So it's like so rich with so many characters that people love, and I feel like this show is a good example of that. That there are so many characters that people really love, and you know, they as long as they keep it kind of positive and keep them likable, for the most part, keep the tone, then I think it would be something I would definitely watch.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me on these. This has been really fun.
Yeah, thanks for
a fun
hosting
little
it. It's
surprise.
been so fun.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
Find me at Abby_kid on Twitter or Instagram, or my blog is jeremyandabbyadopt@wordpress.com.
Awesome. And you can find me at Smiling LDS Girl on social media, at 54 Disney Reviews, and at Rachel's Reviews on YouTube. And I just did a podcast this morning with Joe Tefano about our now it's become an annual tradition every year. We talk about some of our favorite holiday films. So you'll really enjoy that. And then
yeah, I really enjoyed that last year. I've been meaning to watch that today.
Oh, good. Yeah. And so these are 10 new films we're talking about that we talked from ones we talked last time for the most part. And then on Wednesday, I'm doing a stream with two of my friends on YouTube where we're going to talk about 2016 animation. So that's going to be really fun. So it should be a good week.
Cool.
So, all right. Well, thanks again. And I look forward to seeing the comments. And thanks to those who are in the chat room. Appreciate it.